Hey YouTube, let's do a weekly update on the messy basement. On the e-bike 2025 e-bike rules. So there's been some. I talked to a few people that inputted information onto. Well, that camera is really crooked. So I talked to a few people, and they explained to me what they inputted into the information. They made one group that is about e-bikes and everything e-bike related commented in the period that was open, and they had some really good recommendations, and they basically said that with the riding climate and terrain in America, that European standards would not meet the needs of what most Americans need. So they had their own suggestions. Most of them mirrored what the regulations currently are. And as to industry oversight by the government, they believed that there was a need for the government to be more involved in developing standards for what an e-bike should be able to sustain when it comes to weight, input, anything that would cause a part failure. So they did come up with some suggestions for standards which may or may not be adopted. But that's all I can say about the 2025 consumer protection. What is it? There's two different agencies that do two different things, but almost have the same initials. Well, anyway, so the federal regulations that are coming in 2025. California, a little update, is a Democratic state, and such, many of the Democratic states in the United States follow their lead. California wants to make it so that nobody below the age of 12 would be allowed to ride an e-bike, basically, except for the ones that are designed specifically for children. They're called coaster bikes that happen to have a little electrical assistance, and I've seen them, but they're still called coaster bikes. That they're going to leave the federal government to regulate, but they're coming up with a licensing scheme for somebody who's between 12 and 16 that doesn't have a regular driver's license. So it'll be ran by the California Highway Patrol. They will develop a standard for testing those 12 to 16-year-old e-bike riders, and then it will issue some kind of permit, state ID, or something that shows that they've completed the required classes, and then they'd be able to ride a Class 3 bike. It's still in the legislation phase and hasn't been a signed bill yet or a signed law yet by the governor, but it's making its way through the legislative bodies there in California. I don't know if it's a good or a bad thing, but I think it would tend to think it would be a good thing if we're educating our youth on how to ride a bike responsibly. So that's coming up. Whether that will pass or not is anybody's guess. Other news is Michigan still hasn't came up with a final law for e-bike rebates, and nor has the federal government. They all seem to agree that we should be encouraging people who can use them as alternative transportation to come up with some way of giving a rebate, but nobody seems to really want to come up with the money, and that's so far has been the issue. Nobody's passed a law, the federal government or our state government, to come up with a rebate program for e-bikes. They've set what they basically want to do, but they haven't passed a law yet. So it's been relatively quiet week as far as e-bike laws and proposed legislations, but they are out there. The legislation is slowly catching up to the industry and will at some point be, I'm hoping, not too regulated, but it's hard to say. I just came off of a 23-mile bike ride, so I'm kind of dry mouthed. So that being said, there's nothing really else to cover this week. I just thought I'd do a short video to let you guys know what's going on. The channel went monetized last week on the so I did add a membership to the channel, $1.99 if you want to join the channel. It's neither here or there. It supports the channel. It also lets people know that you support the channel. You'll be given a asterisk next to any comments you put on the channel, and it changes as the longer you support the channel, the darker the star gets. So that being said, I'll make an introduction video, short and sweet, for the channel here real soon, but I've been busy. I got a lot of things to do. We just got back from a vacation. It was a UTV vacation, no bike riding, but it was quite a lot of fun. We rode into 300 miles in the 3 days that we were gone, so we rode quite a bit. Well, here's your chance. There's nobody to contact with this video as far as your input. If you're in California, contact your legislators if you disagree with licensing the 12 to 16-year-old bike riders, or give them some input. Have a great day.